When you're learning a language, you need to learn a lot of words. Simply because if you don't know the words, you cannot understand the language and you can't speak it. This is something I say all the time because it's really important. Okay? I repeat, vocabulary is extremely important. Without vocabulary, you've got nothing. And when I say this, and when I say that you should learn 30 words, 50, 100 words a day, whatever, a lot of words, as many of them as possible, as fast as possible, you often get comments. Well, first of all, comments saying that that's impossible, which they're wrong. They don't know what they're talking about. But also comments from people which, like this one I got yesterday, comments by people who think that you should first learn everything at a certain level. Like you should learn everything at an A1 level until before you start learning A2 level vocab. And then once you know everything, like all the grammar perfectly and A2 level, then you start learning B1 vocab. And that's the way it works. Because the logic here was that, in this particular comment, was that if you try to learn vocabulary that's too advanced for your level, your brain will reject it. Somehow your brain is not ready for those words yet. And let me tell you, that's complete bullshit. Because if you've traveled a lot, and if you've done business internationally, and you've talked to people from different countries in English, non-native speakers like Brazilians, Turks, Italians, Spaniards, you will notice that a lot of them speak terrible English. If you send businessmen to a lot of these businessmen, you'll find in trade fairs and these kind of events, you send them to an English school and you level test them, they probably have an A2 level, maybe. Like the grammar is terrible, the pronunciation is a disaster. Okay? But they manage to make deals in the language and they make way more money than most ESL teachers, probably all ESL teachers. And they use big words when they speak in English. Like I said, grammar is bad, pronunciation is a disaster, but they will use vocab that is C1, C2 level all the time. Not all of the vocab, they also struggle to find words sometimes, but they also use a lot of big words. Why? Simple, because they need those words. Those are words they see all the time at work. They read those words, they listen to those words, and they have to talk about them, so they learn them very quickly. That's how it works. A language is not, like my jiu-jitsu coach says, a language, well, he says it about jiu-jitsu, but a language is the same. A language is not a cake recipe, okay? There's not a list of steps you need to follow, and you can't get to the next step until this one's done. No, like, you don't need to learn like A1 vocab and grammar before you move on to like A2 and B1 vocab and all of that. All of that is just artificial stuff. Like that's all made up, right? There are words that are really useful that you should learn quickly, and there are words that are less useful. They'd be nice to know, but they're not as important for you, because the words that are really important for me are not the ones that probably all of them. Some of them will be. Some of them are important for everyone, all right? But a lot of them are important for some people and not for other people, depending on what you normally talk about. That's why you should learn with language islands. If you learn your own sentences with the things you want to be able to say, you learn the vocabulary that's the most important for you. I've got this client who I will not name, I will not give too much detail, but basically the guy just started learning Portuguese and he sent me a laundry list of things he wants to be able to say. Really talkative guy, and there were things there that were really philosophical and really he's a big business guy. He's got a bunch of businesses, and he was talking about philosophical things and doing business and this and that and investments and hobbies, and he was using vocabulary that was C1, C2 level often. So what? That's the way he likes to speak. Why shouldn't he speak Portuguese like that? He simply translates everything, create audio files, and listen and repeat those sentences over and over again, read them over and over again, and he'll learn that vocab quickly because those are his own words, and those are things that are important to him and he wants to be able to say, right? So the vocabulary levels part is nonsense. If you're going to use pre-made lists, then yes, use, but not by level, use it by frequency, right? Learn frequency lists. The most common verbs, and eventually basically all verbs, you should learn them because they are really important for comprehension. Adjectives, the most common adjectives, the most common nouns maybe, but when we get to nouns already, it's better to learn the nouns that you want to use, that the ones you've written in your language islands, in the sentences you want to say, instead of random noun lists, because random noun lists will have dog and teacher and pencil and things like that, which, okay, they're nice to know, and I talk about dogs quite often, but not about, I don't know, pencils, for example. You don't need to say pencil in most languages. But because those word lists were written or prepared mostly by teachers for classrooms, then that's what you get. So adjectives and nouns, learn frequency lists, but for adjectives and verbs, especially verbs, learn frequency lists. But for everything else, just learn your own sentences. And there are no words that are too advanced for you, all right? It doesn't matter which level you're at. If it's a sentence you want to be able to say and it contains that word, then that word is important and you should learn it. And because it's your own sentence and you came up with it and you want to be able to say it and it's something meaningful, you will learn it pretty easily. You read it, you listen to it, you repeat it aloud a few times, and you will be able to say that, all right? So no, there are no words that your brain will reject because they are too difficult. Simply get enough repetition and you will learn the words. Your brain learns what is useful and what it gets exposed to a lot and often, right? So a lot of repetition and you learn anything. And if it's your own stuff, it means it's useful and your brain will remember it easier anyway.